Hi, this is K.N.Fitzwater. You're watching my channel, and I have to redo this video. Um, the last time I did this video to review this, I looked at the footage, and um, the audio was bad. The audio is bad. So here I am in this messed up hairdo, in my casual clothes, etc., doing this little review. Couple of quick announcements. I'm going to take a small break from YouTube to work on the next story project. I had seen all of you watching this and giving support, and I'm seeing this wonderful growing community that's generating here on this channel, and I just want to say thank you for being part of this. Thank you for watching our life and beginnings and always. Thank you for watching the D&D stuff, the Wand of Orcus. So all of that, thank you so much. I will be doing a next story project this coming September, and I'm hoping to take not too long of a break to get that going for you. So hopefully, sometime in August, keeping my fingers crossed, I will come back with probably a couple of D&D counter monkey kind of tales, letting you know how we are progressing so far in our family's game. Um, but yeah, thank you so much. Thank you so much for being there. I really, really appreciated um, you guys watching and enjoying this. So, back into this review. Um, I have some pluses and some minuses. Most of them very, very positive. This is a beautiful game. Beautiful background, beautiful um, story. Everything was wonderful. I really love the aesthetic of it. Let's go ahead and do the physical breakdown. The game design itself. The graphics are wonderful. I love the background drawings. I love how there's a little bit of watercolor going on with it. It's not really in your face, but it reminds me of the slice of life anime shows where you have this nice soft colors that are a little bit uh, pleasing to the eye. I love the mixture for the backgrounds, just that sunset to nighttime, that effect just harkens back to those type of animes, and I really, really love those. Really love Azumaka Daioh. So it just brought me back to that. So that was wonderful. Um, Text, font, the um, word bubbles, that whole design, that kind of transparency, and those type of color schemes, really, really good. I love the little tiny flower indication on those. Um, I like that seeing that type of motif throughout. That's a really nice touch. Um, Character designs. Character designs are wonderful. They really are. You have people of different body types. You have people of different skin colors. You have people of different hair colors. Um, their expressions are really well done. There's no freaky, weird stuff like in Dragon Age where they go, "Ee," whatever. None of that. None of that. It was really well done. Um, let's see. Trying to think. Sometimes there's like key moments, like blinking of the eyes in a unlockable scene. That was a wonderful, fitting touch. Um, I know that the end or the beginning of the story arc for that particular summer, you get to design your own character, and I wish that shows up a little bit more in the story. This is one of the few negatives. This one is a very tiny one, but it kind of annoys me a little bit that I would spend time about my character's looks and aesthetics, but it's not really discussed except for the end of the story. When we're dealing with, oh shoot, his name, Shiloh. Shiloh's freckles. My character is awash in freckles on the little doll, and that didn't occur to Cove for some reason in the story. That oh, you have freckles too. Maybe I should be careful how I choose my words about kids with freckles. You know, and the character didn't seem to have any choices about, hey, I have freckles and you should be nice to Cove or nice to Shiloh about this. It didn't really pop up. So those type of inconsistencies I've been seeing on and off. Other than that, it was really nice. I did not get into picking or selecting outfits for Cove or anything like that. I let the game decide that, and it was not bad. The outfits for Cove and how Cove looks was really good, and how everyone progressed from youth to maturity in their different stages of life, not just the kids, but also the parents, how they had changed. That was really well done. I love seeing those type of changes, and how some of it stayed the same, like the backdrops of the buildings. Most of that had stayed the same. You kind of see that when you're a kid. You know, some things, stay there, and some of them don't. Um, Probably a little bit more of a difference in the backgrounds, maybe, but that's a little bit nitpicky on my end. Otherwise, everything looks great. Um, the little tiny animations, like the blinking of Ko's eyes, that's really nice. That's a nice touch. Um, so, yeah, I'll gush about the aesthetics for a really long time. Story wise, since this is a visual novel, part of the novel is the storytelling aspect. This is a nice, wonderful concept, and it's a really well done concept where you are going through all these life moments and trying to develop a relationship, whether it's friendly or romantic, with this boy next door, and all the ups and downs that goes with it, getting to know each other throughout the summer. Kind of takes me back how I was going through my summers in my childhood. Some of them good, some of them are bad. But I think the character summers are a lot better than mine, personally. Um, yeah, that is really well done. I like how each vignette has a very enclosed arc. It has its own rise and fall. That's really well done. I like the story arc in each overall summer. Um, well, I like that it's attempted to be enclosed into this one age group. It's more of a stories that you would experience as a child, so you have more of the children's kind of story situations. Then you have the middle age, preteen story set, sort of the teenage angst a little bit, um, and then you have your young adult story set. All of them slice of life, nothing really extreme. There's no high stakes. Um, you're not really getting a sense of, oh, I'm losing him. You don't really get this whole obstacle or interference in trying to progress being with Cove. There's no issue with it. In fact, you have the opposite. Everyone wants you to be together. They're forcing you to meet each other, forcing you to kind of go on, kiss, you know, that type of thing. It kind of reminds me of the Regency period or in the 1800s, where everyone is forcing these two kids into a practical match way before they're even mature enough to even have, a life of their own. They're already setting up matches for them. So that's what I was picking up, which is very old school. Very old school. You don't really see that in modern times. But it was actually well done. It was translated well for this modern day and age, where everyone has these high expectations, but they did not force you. They were just enthusiastically hoping everything goes well. And I guess it's the rebel in me, that kind of small, rebellious person that likes to break free sometimes, that will go, no, I make my own choices. Um, and kind of seem to be subverting, people's expectations. Like, no, we're just friends. Or, no, I decide when I'm going to have a romance with this dude. Knock it off. I guess other people will don't mind the encouragement. So it kind of backfired in the story. And of course, when I did finally fall in love with the main character, it blew up in my face. But we'll get to that later. Um, so, yes, there's no real plot arc, it's just a containment of vignettes. And these vignettes do seem to carry over to other vignettes. The choices you make, the kind of interactions you did in the past, vignettes in that Somerset does roll over. However, it always seems to reset when you start a new summer. All the choices that, well, not all the choices. I feel like there's two systems going on. There's the story choice aspect where you actually had typed, I like ice cream of this flavor. I like chocolate ice cream. It will show up in the game that, oh, we're going to pull up this code, this phrase, and you will see it, and we do this recall. So it's able to recall those selections, and you can see that. But it doesn't seem the point system in reaching a certain threshold to unlock scenes, or at least the big major ending scenes, doesn't seem to correlate and doesn't seem to flow over from one summer arc to another. So in between the childhood going into preteen and preteen going into teenager, you're not seeing this type of easy flow as you would see in vignette to vignette. Now, a good example of a recall is the Co's father bribing you when you're a kid, and you keep harkening back time over time of that situation, and how you view about it kind of changes depending on what selections you made. That is a bit of a recall kind of memory or kind of programming, like, okay, we were able to bring this up in our story mind. The accumulation of where you are in your friendship slash romance does not transfer over. I did not see my achievements or progressions I made in the preteen years being translated over into adulthood, even though they were in very good standing. More so from the kid to the preteen. And I believe it's because I kept the disinterest there and see if I could force the computer to progress the bar up, because it had promised to do so in the very beginning. I think they changed that in the updates, And I wasn't updated on the updates that they did this a different type of dynamic. Um, but they had promised that, oh, in the end of the summer, we'll show where you are on that progression and you get to select where it is if you disagree with what it is showing you. So at the end of the childhood summer, I was expecting to see maybe some fondness, um, some sort of progression, and I didn't see it. And I thought, okay, we're just not doing enough in our choices. No, it turns out it's a problem that's been going on throughout the whole series. So I don't like that. As a gamer, I like to see progression bars. I like to see experience points. I like to see where I am as I make these choices. And I like to make adjustments. Um, in real life, you don't see these bars or progressions or whatever, but you do start making adjustments in how people react to you and what they say to you, etc. And it felt like we were going somewhere or starting to really get along in our childhood, and all of a sudden it's like square one. We don't like each other. And I did not care for that. I did not care for that at all. And I have to force my character to go into this crush stage. And then eventually we were able to hook up. Um, but again, it did not seem to translate. I guess at the very end, it was really an emotional roller coaster, I have to say, to go from, yes, we are together to no, we're not. And all in a very short time. I guess they're trying to accommodate for when, yes, you are hooked up much earlier in your whole progression from early age on. Let's say you finally hook up in childhood, that you're going to be childhood sweethearts and you're going to stay together no matter what, but your relationship has been crappy and thus you have this type of ending. So I could see that. I could see the breakup happening when the relationship in a romantic sense is not a healthy one. It did not work out very well. But I would strongly encourage to have it changed where if you had finally obtained the relationship at the very, very end, just before the end cap, and have it where, maybe there's a ending where there's going to be new growth. We don't know what the future holds. Maybe we'll be together at the end, maybe not, but we're going to try our best. Probably like a middle ground between, yes, we're going to get married or receive a proposal, or we're going to have a breakup. Some sort of middle line of we're going to progress as a couple, a newly hooked up boyfriend girlfriend type of thing. Because it was really, really fresh. It was a very, very fresh relationship. Just happened before that very ending. So I think there should be a different type of ending for that. Just for that. It's just when you just accumulated a relationship, you know, it should be there. Um, so yeah, because I wasn't seeing the story points being accumulated and keeps being reset based on what type of bar I selected. I suggest maybe not on this game, maybe in the future, where um, it shows you where you are on these type of selections, and if you don't like it, you could adjust it. And if you have it where, well, you already accumulated this much, you can't go backwards, just keep it there and have it reflect in the rest of the game. Um, that's going to require a lot of programming to have it reflected for the rest of the game. It's going to make it more dynamic. It's a little bit more sensitive, and I think it will pay off better. It would be more reflective of what Dragon Age and Bioware is doing, where those minute choices does reflect throughout the game. It does seem to flow. It does seem to accumulate from beginning to end. I'm not seeing that accumulation properly flowing through. I feel like some things are going through and some things are being blocked. So that's how I feel. Now, my my other issue is the words, just simply the text. Part of it is just me not being able to speak very well. I don't orate properly like other people do. I do have a difficult time reading and speaking exactly what's written. I do stumble over my words. I get hung, twisted, etc., etc. I know I have issues, but as a fellow storytelling writer, um, it needs cleaning up. There are some word redundancies that should not be there. There are some words that could be pruned a little bit just so it's a little bit clearer. Um, there's some hang up words that should not be there at all, just so you could have some smoothness in the narrative. Um, the dialogue phrasing, most of it, like 99% of it, is relatable, is it makes sense. Some of them sound differently from each other, but I can't really tell sometimes. Cove's mom definitely sounds differently from other people. I could tell she has a different type of speaking clicks. Um, let's see. But writing wise, it just needs polishing. And the polishing comes to pruning. Just taking care of those redundancies, taking care of uh, wordiness, makes it nice and sleek, and keep the wordiness in the dialogue because how people phrase things in a conversational tone, um, some of it does come through there in the dialogue like that. So you can leave those alone. You may want to double check. Um, it feels like it has a few stubblings. Other than that, it makes sense. There's some logic in how people were talking, how they express themselves. You get to understand their feelings, their motives. You get to see their personality quirks. Um, the narrative is really good in presenting your own mindset, how you are reacting, and it's reflecting the choices you had made. It totally made sense. I am seeing the different type of branchings and the choices. The choices are understandable. I have a good idea of what they're doing. The ending did not make sense to me. The bad ending I've received, even if it's a bad ending that we are rejected and such, how the choices, or at least the words that Cove had said and the choices presented in reaction to Cove in the car does not make any story logic sense. It makes sense. It sort of makes sense as his character. Does not make sense as the main character's reaction. Um, I think that it should be clear that he was breaking up with a character, and it should be more clear that he was trying to encourage my character to um, still try to be friends. I think that should have been more clear. Then again, real life is not always that clear. But I feel that in a very high emotional situation, like a breakup, um, some things are going to be said that's not going to be roundabout, and it's not going to be friendly, and it's going to be a little bit nasty. And I wish I had those choices. I wish I could be mean and not in a violent manner. I was a little bit violent, I have to say, in the whole reaction. That's just me reacting. However, the choices should have reflect a dissatisfaction or some sort of upsetness that should have had, like, I am still angry at you. I'm still mad at you. I am not happy with the result. Um, should have had more of drama choices. Should have had that. It should have gone into a bad breakup. You should have a good breakup where you could have friendship, or you could have a bad breakup where it's really bad real quick. Um, and maybe there's a chance for you to amend your friendship even though there's a breakup result. I think that whole ending epilogue, even though I didn't finish it, um, I think it should have reflected the high stakes of, even though we broke up our romance, can we stay friends? And I think that should have showcased more. I think it should have been more of that high stakes at the end, and that maybe we're able to congeal and say, okay, no matter what happens, we're friends, type of thing. Which is, it depends on how the breakup goes. um, but the choices did not reflect what I wanted to select as a player. And that is a red flag for me. I get those sometimes on and off in the BioWare series where, no, I don't want to be the bad guy. I don't want to be the good guy. I don't want to be the jokester. I just want to do some other choice that's not presented before me. That is a neutral party that is very empathetic or understanding, or, hey, I'm a leader. Let's just try to do this thing. um, So here, this is the only time in this bad ending scenario that the logic broke down on the main character choices. The character reaction from Cove's side kind of makes sense, but there should have been an option where you can reject that kind of help and just say, hey, what's the deal? So I think the only negative, not a true negative. For the most part, this is a pleasant experience. This whole story but felt quite wholesome. It helped reaffirm my personal values, of diversity and acceptance, and it helped reflect some parts of life that I never experienced, like adoption. I've never been adopted. I only know one person, no, I'm sorry, two people in my whole life that have been adopted. And, but I never lived that type of life. I never knew. And that opened my eyes to what would someone react, or how would they feel in a adopted scenario. So that helped me understand people better. Um, that being said, there's no high stakes. which is fine. You don't have to have high stakes in a game. Like Stardew Valley, you don't need high stakes. You just need, well, actually, I take that back. They did have a high stakes where if you don't help out the village, they lose their right to that fulfillment center or that community center. And they don't really bond as a community. Here, I never felt the high stake of losing Cove. I never had a issue of I may lose friendship with Cove, I may lose my romance with Cove. It never occurred to me that I would be rejected in this manner um, at the very end. Um, it was shocking at the very end. It was the only high drama, oh, I may actually lose someone type of scenario. Um, it did kind of mention on and off about Ko's anxiety of, oh, everyone's leaving, everyone's parting ways, everyone's going off and doing things, and I want to go out in my own way type of thing. Um, it wasn't really discussed often, but it's kind of there. But again, you don't really feel this obstacle of your friendship is going to be destroyed or your romance is going to be destroyed. There's no true obstacle there. So, as a story, it will come off not flat, but it's a little bit. Shoot, I don't know how to say it, but you know what I mean. Because it feels that there's always a safety net that everyone's always going to be this type of manner in this type of scenario. Most of the choices you make is not a make it or break it. Um, it's just about an exploration of emotions, an exploration of people's mindsets and different personalities reacting to these common scenarios, like catching fireflies, rolling down the hill, meeting new friends, um, having a hangout, learning how to, not learning how to drive. Well, everyone kind of learns that eventually, but um, how to go out with friends on your own without parents seeing you, or going out to a big dinner date of sorts, with your crush. How does that go? All these type of life moments. It's just nice to explore it, and it kind of harkens back to how I went through my life growing up, all the good and bad. And that was kind of awesome to recollect all that. So you don't really need high stakes in a game to um, have that kind of effect where you have this strong connection to the game and have a wonderful experience. But I did not feel the threat that I could be making mistakes in the choices I'm making until the very end. It did not make me reassess what I am doing um, until that was slapping my face like, nope, you fuck up. Um, but yes, I believe this is a game worth playing. I believe this is a game worth doing over and over again. There's plenty of people who had better endings, and the choices, I'm sure, came out so much better and had a better concept. I'm sure that if you keep progressing on these levels, like, oh, okay, we were fond of each other, then we were crushing, and then we're together, I'm sure you're going to be fine. Or if you skip this crushing and went straight for the relationship, cool. It may be more of how do you keep it together That would be a very interesting gameplay. Another way I probably will try to replay is what is it like when I do the blue option only? What is it like if I do green or yellow? I realized that after my childhood, most of my options had been blue. I didn't know my character was becoming more self confident as they progressed. I thought the character did not have growth, but I realized that I became more open minded and more um, confident in showcasing my thoughts or feelings because uh, I was very introverted when I was a kid. I was really a little bit of self-absorbed. I have very few friends that I play with, and I was very selective who I hanged out with. And I don't really talk a lot. I just listened a lot when I was a kid. Very, very young kid, like elementary school kid. But I digress. This is one of those games I would say would be a 9 out of 10. There's some quirks in there that that the game has that you're going to have to adjust for. You're going to have to make sure you are clicking on your progression of at every single end of the summer. Otherwise, it's going to think that you did nothing from the previous summer. Um, I highly suggest replaying it in different manners. I also suggest playing it much later in your life. I may come back and play this. I may do the DLCs, and maybe I have a different ending. I hope that I don't have to do the DLCs in order to get a happier ending. I'm going to try to do it a different way. But who knows? Who knows? So, thank you so much for watching. I will be back for sure in September, and maybe I'll surprise you all with a video or two before then. But I will be back with my new buddy. Until then, please hit that like button. Please hit subscribe. That way you can be kept abreast when I do pop up. Let everyone else know, that you like this channel and this is a cool channel to be. Thank you so much for being here with me and watching this. And I hope you all have a wonderful, wonderful day and weekend.